So all these things can happen only in your dream state and in the waking state. But when once you are asleep, in your sleep you are angry with none, you have no enemy, and you have no friend, you have no attachment, you have no like, you have no dislike, you are absolutely liberated like from all these feelings or emotions which bind you. You are free. What does it show? What is the speciality at the sleep? During sleep your mind is not working, your mind is not working. So, it is an automatic conclusion that only when your mind is working, you are getting this enmity, ill will, goodwill, sukha, dukkha, happiness, unhappiness. So, all these things are characteristics of the mind. None of them is a characteristic of Atma. Because Atman is there forever, even when you are asleep. So if Atman were the possessor of all these characteristics, then when you are asleep also, you should be angry with somebody, you should be happy, you should be unhappy, but none of these things are happening. There is absolutely no case of state in the sleep, which shows that all these qualities belong to the mind only and never for this. So as such, we are not prepared to accept the views of the logicians, of the Tarkikas, that these characteristics belong to Atma. This is an easy logic which anybody can follow. As such, we say, this is a clear proof that all these changing states, they belong to the buddhi, they belong to the mind. Here, don't make a distinction between mind and buddhi. Because in Sanskrit, in many of the places, the one is used as a synonym for the other. When it is used in a special sense, mano buddhi ahankara, then you can say that mana means sankalpa vikalpatmaka manaha nirnayatmaka buddhi. So that which the determining faculty, you call it as the buddhi, that which goes on having its own doubts, whether shall I do like this or shall I not do like this, the pros and cons of something to be done or not to be done, that is called the mind. So the one is a clerk, the other is the officer who takes a decision. But this sort of distinction doesn't take place. When they say buddhi here, they mean the mind. Because there is only one which sometimes sits in the chair and it works with the mind, and sometimes it sits in another chair, it becomes an officer. It is the same thing which works in both the chairs, as a clerk and as an officer. That's all. So with this we stop today. We'll explain it tomorrow. We had almost finished the 23rd sloka, wherein we said, Atman has no desires, Atman has no attachments, Atman has no feeling of pain, joy or sorrow. Atman is changeless. Then, who is it in us that fills them all? He says it is the mind. The mind, he calls it the intellect, because the mind and the intellect are almost the same. The chairs are different. The one who sits in both the chairs is the one entity. As such, buddhi and mind. See, the one puts up the papers is a clerk. Sankalpa vikalpatmaka manaha. Just to give the pros and cons, shall I do it, shall I not do it, with so many alternatives. Finally, the officer who takes the decision is buddhi. It is the same one, the same entity who puts up his own papers, there is nobody else working there, and he himself becomes the officer while sitting on the chair as intellect. So, how do you say that? That Atman has no desires, has no attachments, has no likes and dislikes, and doesn't feel any pain or sorrow. We normally say, even the normal parlance, that I am unhappy, I am happy, I am very pleased, I am full of sorrows. And this is a very common term. I like it, I do not like it. Every time we say I, by that we mean the Atman. It looks so evident like, but how do you contend that the Atman is free from all these things? It is only the intellect which does it. He gives a beautiful argument. Sushuptau nasti tannache tasmad buddhestu natmanaha. 23rd, which we did already. The easiest method for proving is, yes, during the daytime, during our waking stage, you have a lot of desires, unfulfilled desires. You are making plans, strategies as to how to get those desires fulfilled, whom to approach, and through whom you can get it and how to get it, the modus operandi for getting satisfaction of your desires. And during the waking state, you have likes and dislikes, you have attachments to your son, attachment to your wife, attachment to your possessions. So all these things exist. The moment you go to sleep, absolutely a desireless state. When you are in deep sleep, you don't say, I would like to have some nice eatables like gulab jamun. No. Nor do you have any desires during the sleep, deep sleep, that I want a promotion, I want to become a class 1 officer in the government, I want to become secretary, I am now only an additional secretary, I want to become the chief secretary. None of the desires exist. And there's a beautiful description of what is sleep, what is the state of sleep in the Mandukya Upanishad. There he describes each state. There he gives a beautiful thing. It is a state, nakanchana kamam kamayate. That is a state where you are absolutely desireless. You become a sannyasi. You become a monk. You don't have the least desire left at that time. It is a beautiful state, that deep sleep, if only you think of it. And at that time, you have no attachments to anybody. In the deep sleep, you are neither aware of yourself, nor are you aware of your son, your grandson. So all the attachments are completely gone. You don't even remember any one of them. The one whom you have been considering so precious, so near and dear to you, so intimate to you, so loving, you have forgotten them within the 24 hours during your deep sleep. So, you don't have attachment during deep sleep, you don't have any desire, you don't say during sleep, deep sleep, you don't say, I am unhappy. Even a man who is most unhappy during the daytime, a man who is vexed with ever so many problems, beset with a lot of problems, and say even physical problems, a man who just had an accident and had multiple fractures, even that fellow when he sleeps, he is unaware of any of the unhappiness. When he is awake, he will be calling the nurse every 5 minutes, nurse, please relax it is becoming too difficult for me, please lower my feet. He may tell so many things. During the deep sleep, he is not bothered. So he has no pains, no sorrows. So during the deep sleep state, when the mind doesn't work at all, where has the mind gone? The mind has merged itself into its source, into the causal body called the Karana Sharira. What is the causal body? Causal body is the basic ignorance. What ignorance? Ignorance of who I am. The ignorance of who I am, it is because of that during the waking state that you have been identifying yourself with that chap who is called Mr. X or Mr. Y, and during the dream state you are seeing yourself but in a different role there. Here you may be an engineer, you may be a millionaire. Well, in the dream you are seeing yourself as a street beggar going begging from door to door. and you are identifying yourself with that beggar. So, this is a state where you don't identify yourself with anybody. The mind has gone to slumber in the lap of ignorance. The source from which it has come out. It is merged with the causal body. It is a pure state almost. A state which is very near to that absolute infinity. But unfortunately, as the ignorance has not been lost, it is lying in wait at one corner. Just like your coats are lying in wait in the coat stand, in order that you should come out of the party. The moment you come out of the party, the attendant comes, sir, your coat, sir, and he puts it on, the coat comes back on you. So similarly, the ignorance catches you. The moment you get up in the morning, you say, life in the world, everything comes up, my appointment, my disappointment. So everything comes and catches you by the neck. So this obviously shows that only when the mind works, that is during the sleeping state, that is during the waking state, that is during the dreaming state, in both, you have got desires, you have got raga, iksha, bhaya, krodha, sukha, dukkha. That is, you have got likes and dislikes. Somebody is an enemy, somebody is a friend, somebody is a foe. And you are happy, you are unhappy, all changes in moods, all sorts of changes. And all these things disappear when there is no mind. That obviously shows that these qualities are the characteristics. They all belong to the mind, they don't belong to the Atman at all. Atman is there in all the states. Then why then, what comes in the waking state, why does it come in the sleeping state? The Atman has been there in the waking state. In fact, it is there in a clearer form, because it is more active in those states. But in spite of it, during the sleeping state, when the Atma alone is there is absolutely no raga, no icha, no desire, no joy, no sorrows. This obviously shows that all these things are the creations of the intellect, creations of the mind. These are all appearances due to the ignorance, but they don't belong to the Atman at all. So we go to the next. In the next, then he is going to say, all right, you have told so many negative things that this is not the quality of Atman, this is not the quality of Atman. Please tell me now, what is the real nature of the Atman? What is it like? Yes, we have already said that it is anirvacha. It cannot be described, but to give some idea, something which will come very near to it at least. So she says, Prakashorkasya yasya shaityamagnetya doshnata swabhavasya chidananda nitya nirmalatatmanaha. What is meant by real nature? Because sometimes the upadhis can be mistaken. The upadhis means the external limiting agents. The example that I have told you was that there is a pure transparent crystal. It is covered on the back with a blue handkerchief. So as it is in the front, you look at the crystal, it looks azure blue. It is bluish in color. Blue color is not inherent in it. It is not part of its real nature. It is something that has been borrowed from outside. It doesn't belong to it at all. So, he wants to tell you first, define. See, before you go and use some terms, we should know whether the listener and the speaker, whether we are talking about the same thing. You may think of something else. See, the words are very deceptive. J. Krishnamurti, one of the greatest of philosophers of the century, he used to be extremely careful. So the moment you ask him anything, he would first, sure, let us first say what is time. You ask him something about time, you say, sure, let us see whether you and I understand the same as time. You start with the fundamentals, the basics. So similarly here, he starts with the basics in order to give you an idea as to what you mean by the real nature. He says, Prakashaha Arkasya. The sun has got as its real nature the effulgence, the kanti, the tejas, the effulgent light which comes out of him. So that is his real nature. That is born with him. It is a constituent element of the sun. He can't remain without it. So that is what we mean by real nature. He is giving another example to give you an idea as to what he means by the real nature. Shaityam koyatya. Water. Water's natural quality is coldness. Yes, when you heat it, then artificially there is an adhyaropa. Adhyaropa means a superimposition of the heat from outside on it. But its real nature remains as cold only. So, Shaityam Toyasya. Shaityam, it is the abstract noun of Shita. Shita means cold. So it becomes Shaityam. So Shaityam Toyasya. Toya means Jalasya, water. So the water's natural quality, its essential nature, its constituent quality happens to be coldness. It is always cold. Then one more example he gives. Agnehe yatha ushnatha. Yatha means just like. Just like heat is the property, is the real nature of fire. So fire always means, you always say, oh fire, my Lord, you will burn me. That means you are always aware of its real nature, which is ushnata. Ushnata means heat. Heat is the essential nature. Similarly, what is the swabhava? Swa means ours. Bhava means the one which is born with you. Bhava to become. Bhava represents something which is born. So the quality which is born by you, so swabhava means the real nature. The real nature of Atma. Atmanaha. What is his real nature? Atmanaha swabhavaha. Now, he is enlisting what are all what is the real nature of it. You know, these are not external qualities. We don't call them as qualities. They are all, if at all we may call it as attributes, but they are really considered as the real nature. If at all we have to define Atman, these are the only way in which we can describe it. Whether we understand it or not, this is the furthest we can go with our words. Because he is the one whom the words cannot catch, the mind cannot conceive of. So you can't help it. They say they all come back. They say, sorry, we can't do it here again. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manthasana. The words go, they say, well, what is that big? I'll go and catch it. But when they go and see his magnitude, his that infinitude, they're afraid, oh my Lord, we are so limited, how can we catch it? They come back saying, sorry, we can't do anything about it. And it doesn't come back alone. Earlier, the mind has already gone thinking that I can conceive of it, I can see. But the mind also gets disappointed. So the two people, they come back together. Aprapya manthasana. They are unable to reach. So svabhavaha is Sat, Chit, Anandaha, Nitya, Nirmalata. These are the five qualities here given. Sat means Atman is. Atman exists. That is why we say, I am. And then you say, the book is. The water is. Everything is. So that isness happens to be the quality of that Atman which is all pervasive and which is the constituent member of all the objects in the world. It is the material class, the upadana karana. As I have already told you what is the upadana karana. So that is called the Satya. That is Uladu. That which is, that which exists. That is in the form of existence. It is the form of being. That is just being. Not being a Brahmin, not being a man from Bengal or a man from the south, or not being a graduate, not being a PhD, not being an engineer, simple beings talk with things. There is no other qualification. Being and just like a child which is born 2 days old, it only knows one thing. Yes, that is the only thought perhaps it can ever have. So remain the state and have the state of Atma. That is the state of the self. So that is the reality of the self. So then you are aware that you exist. If you are not aware, what is the use of your existence? How can you say I exist? So you are aware of not only your existence, of the existence of the other objects. Your existence of the people of Sri and you are seeing the way the objects have been kept, an umbrella, a book, a bag. So this awareness of being, the awareness of existence, that is called the pure consciousness. So long as your consciousness is able to see the other object, then it is impure. It is not called the pure consciousness. It is just like a photographic film which is fully capable of taking all the scenery which is available, but which is not exposed. It just remains in its potentiality, but nothing falls on it, and that is the pure state. That is the pure state of consciousness, where nothing falls. So, Sati Chit. Then, what is the third? The third is that for which we are all working. Everybody wants that only. It is because of that he marries. It is because of that he goes to a job. It is because of that he wants a lot of money. It is because of that he wants name, fame, happiness. If several people say, oh, Shantananda, he talks well, so Ananda, I get happiness. Then it's there. So everybody wants for Ananda. Ananda is a natural state, and Ananda is its infinity. It is infinite. It is the infinite Ananda. When you just remain in your being, and you remain in the consciousness of your being, saying that I am. Don't pronounce it as a mantra. Remain in that consciousness of your being. Just your being and nothing else. Automatically, it's an infinite bliss which is there. So, Sati Chitta Ananda. Sati Chitta Ananda. So the essential nature of Atma is being. Another essential feature is awareness, self-awareness. It is aware that it exists. It is a self-revealing. We call it Swayam Prakash. See, a torch doesn't require another torch to light it. The torch not only reveals all the objects, it reveals itself. And then the state of Atman, that is what we call as Chit. Then Ananda is bliss. You see, even though we may conceive of bliss as some infinite joy, the word joy, the word pleasure, they were nowhere near this bliss. And in fact, the word bliss has nothing to do with the joy of pleasure. You can't call it as, it is a million times magnified with pleasure, that is called bliss. No, it is not so. Bliss is a state which can never be expressed. The man who has gone to find it out, he never comes back, he gets this all. There is no, unfortunately, we have no idea of what it is like. It It is no doubt a state of absence of both joy and sorrow. There is neither happiness nor unhappiness, but it is something which is far superior to the states of any happiness, the states of any pleasure that we could ever conceive of, which we can ever think of in the wildest imagination, even in dreams. Now we come to Nitya. Nitya means that which is eternal. It is indestructible. It never goes out. Everything in this world, it is subjected to the six vikaras, the six changes, which start with it is born. It continues to remain. Jayate, asti, then it grows, vardhate, then it undergoes changes. My chubby cheeks are gone, and I became a wild, thin old man with the cheeks all sunk inside. So it's a change. There is vardhya, the old age. That can be sure. So these are the changes. So Viparinamate, he gets changed beyond recognition often. You can't think of this Shantananda whom you met as in 40 years back. There is nothing common in his features like perhaps. So unrecognizable changes. Then opportunity. Daily, every part of your body, it decreases its efficiency. You have new machine to purchase and keep it for 50 years, don't operate it, but even then, time erodes. Time erodes its efficiency. Automatically there is a deterioration, there is a depreciation which is charged in the accounts of all these factories, even if the machine has not been used for a single day. Yes, similarly, the body gets down, down, down. Every day there is a decay. So it is called opportunity. And finally, Briyate, it goes. So, he says Nitya. Nitya represents it never dies. The last change never comes. Already we have told enough that it is changed. Nitya also means that it was always in the same state. It never changes. We call it as Ekarasa. It is the same mood. It is the same. There will be not a wick, not a cell which has changed. There is no cell. There is no part. It is all one holistic pattern. We call it as Akhanda. So, Nitya. The last but not least is Nirmalata. Nirmalata means purity. What do you mean by pure? All of us, we are visited or we are activated by three basic building blocks, as they call it. The three building blocks are the three modes known as the quality of harmony and life. You love, you are kind, you are compassionate, you want to live in harmony with all, you want to help all the people. That is called the Sattva. There is number one, it is one of the constituents, but its percentage could be 1%, 0.5%, or in the case of saints, it may be 99.999 recurring. So the percentages will differ, the population combinations, you get millions and billions of people with various combinations of these three. The Sattva Guna, the Raja Guna and the Tama Guna. Raja Guna is the mode of dynamism, where you want to do, start a project, start a school, start a hospital, start a charitable trust, go there, write something to the latest editor. I think what is happening in this world like? So many people are part of these things, and this is all Raja Guna. None of these things will lead you to spirituality. You have to come to the stage of Nishkriyatva. Do not bother what happens anywhere. As far as you are concerned, the world does not exist. First realize yourself, then you can Buddha, the Tama Buddha, as you know, is lassitude, that is laziness, and the inclination to postpone doing things. Oh, I don't well do it tomorrow, why do it today? So these are all part of the Tama Guna. So, where none of these gunas are operating, then you are absolutely pure. Because many of these faults, like anger, flying to temper, or passion, desires, these are all Rajoguna Samudra. These are all products of the Rajoguna. Your dynamism. You want to do something, somebody is obstructing, the license is not coming, the file is lying on the table of the secretary for the last 1 year, and you have tried your level best to smoothen the way by paying the PA some amount, by paying the dues amount, but still, unfortunately, the secretary is not prepared and he has got no access. That's what happens. You get annoyed. So you try to temper everybody. You try to temper the typist with the steno, or with all your subordinates, perhaps with your bosses too. So these are all the qualities which come out of obstructions toward this year. So, Kamayesha Krudhesha Rajoguna Samudhava. The Gita very beautifully talks of how these three gunas come, how they operate in each, how they activate each individual. The analysis is perhaps I have not seen anywhere so thorough, dissertation of these gunas as you see in the Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita. So this is called the Nirmalata, to be free of all these three gunas, the three constituent nature, that is the Rajoguna, the Tamoguna, and the Sattva-guna. These three are form the composition of Prakriti, or the nature which has created the entire world. And the Prakriti happens to be a force, or a Shakti, or a power of that Supreme Lord. But the Lord himself doesn't do anything. So all the creation, all these things, the dissolution, the sustenance, these are all done by the Prakriti. So the Prakriti has manufactured two types. The one is the Jiva, the individual soul, who thinks that I am the limited one, that I am the body, mind, objects and all that. And on the other hand, he has kept a supervisor of the world, whom we call as Ishvara. And the Ishvara has got the threefold jobs. So it is the same Ishvara, or the overlord, whom we consider as in the three forms, as the Brahma, Vishnu and Rudra, one with the duty of creation, the other with the duty of sustenance, the other with the duty of dissolution. So all these things are there. So all these things are done by Prakriti. Then, so this is what is called the Nirmalata, and this is the real nature of Atma. Why is it being given here? What will you do by knowing the real nature? Just, this is a beautiful poem on which to meditate. You just think of the second sentence only. Go on, understand its meaning. Sabhava, Satchidananda, Nitya Nirmalata. So eternal, it is eternal. So I can't be the body, I will not be taken, I will not be the end, I am forever, I am just like the electricity. The bulb may, if I throw a stone, the bulb may break, the electricity can never break. It is just like that. Go on thinking of it. This is what is called the Manasandhana, this is what is called the Manana, going on the contemplative mode. So, it is beautiful for a contemplation, this second half. Now, we come to the next. Atma Satchidam Shascha Buddher Prakriti Dvayam Samyojya Janive Yanami It's slightly technical. See, look here. fan. What has happened is the process of seeing that fan, according to Vedanta, the mind, it works in waves. So it goes as waves, it goes and envelops the fan. How does it envelop? Every item here has got what is called a cover, an avarana, because of which, unless you look at it, it doesn't reveal itself. Now, Bhagavan's photo is there behind. I am unable to see it because I am not looking at it. So that picture is not self-revealing. Unless I turn back and look at it, it doesn't have the capacity to reveal itself to me, even though I am sitting with its back. If it has got a original capacity, it should be capable of doing that. So what happens is, every item has got a covering. Now I was not seeing the fan I was talking to you on. Suddenly now that I am seeing it, so when I am talking to you also, the fan should be making its impression on me if it really had the power to reveal itself. But it didn't, only when I look at it with my eyes. Then what happens is, the mind goes in, it does avarana bhanga. Avarana bhanga means the waves go and attack and take away that portion which is covering it, and it envelops its full shape. With the result, the mind gets the impression of something hanging with three of its hands. I don't know what it is called. Blades. With the three blades and the armature in between and all these things. But the mind does see. The impression comes, but it doesn't recognize, it doesn't know its name, it doesn't know the nama rupa. It has just formed itself into that form, but it doesn't have the capacity to say that this is a man. Then what happens? This impression is communicated to the intellect, that is the buddhi. Buddhi is something insentient. It can't catch any impression, it can't do anything unless it is activated by electricity. And that electricity in this case happens to be the Atma. So some of the effort of the Atma falls away. So it gets some reflected glory. It gets some heat out of the rays of the Atman which falls from it. So, because of the reflection of the Atman being conscious, a little of the consciousness of the Atman is superimposed on the buddhi. It is superimposed on that buddhi, so it becomes part of the buddhi, which is able to recognize and it is able to say, oh, this is a fan, I know this is a fan. So when I say, this is a fan, it includes two things. First is the portion of the mind which says there is a fan. It doesn't say the name, it only says there is. So there is something which is revealed as an impression. Then the buddhi, which has got the chidamsa. Chidamsa means a portion of the consciousness of the Atman. In the reflection, through this medium of the buddhi, it has come and it has adhered itself to the buddhi, to the intellect. And now, the intellect which was absolutely insentient, which cannot understand, can this recognize the president of this ashram? No, because it is insentient. It has no capacity. But somehow, if it gets some consciousness, the light of consciousness, then it is because of the light of consciousness. The light of consciousness is not its nature. It has just to come and just goes there. In the periphery, perhaps it attacks. But that is sufficient to make the intellect understand, yes, the one who is sitting is the president of the country. That is what happens. So that is what is explained. Because now the question which is being asked by the opponent is, sir, you have said that Atman is absolutely changeless. It is not subject to any of those Shadvikaras, the six changes. It remains the same at all times, at any time. And then how is it? How is it you always say, I think I am Atman? So, this action, this activity of understanding and recognizing or cognizing this man has been done by the Atman. It is a common part. Everybody says, well, this is Mr. Natarajan, this is Dr. Om. So how do you know? So it should be the Atman only. Then how do you say that Atman does nothing? It does, it recognizes, it makes you understand. He says, no. This cognition again, it is not the work of Atman, even though it looks. It is just like my saying that I went and had my lunch. How can Atman have a lunch? Atman requires no lunch. It is only your body which requires a lunch. So you neither went. It is your feet which took you. It is the hands that conquered the place. And then it is the gullet which pushed it down. What did you do? You did nothing. You were aware of it all. You were only that conscious. So he says, how does the question of the Shishya is, in practice I say, I know this is a fan. When you say this is a fan, it implies the term also, this is a fan and I know that this is a fan. Both are equal. Whenever you say this is a fan, unless you know how can you say this is a fan. So it is already implied in it. There are two aspects. The one is the essence of the fan, the other one is the revelation to you, which communicates itself as a cognition, saying, yes, this is a fan. Because I have already told you, the mind can only give the impression. It can only put up the PUC, the paper under consideration to the officer himself. It is the officer who takes the decision and says, yes, this is a fan. He writes that, yes, this is a fan. He only says, sir, something has come before me. It is of this nature. It just influences on the buddhi. And I don't know what it is like. The buddhi says, oh, this is a fact. So he takes the decision. Nirnayatmika buddhi. Atmanaha satchidam satya buddhir vrittirididvayam samyojya javivekena janāmiti pravartate. These two things are joined together, and as it looks as if it is the Atman who is recognizing it, because a little power the Atman has gone into it, both have combined together. The insentient and the sentient. Suppose if you run a small toy train through electricity, the child doesn't know about the electricity. It will think that the train is running on its own force. The train has got no force. The toy has got nothing in it. It is the electric connection which makes it run. It is unaware of it. So, Atmanaha Prasidam Satya. So the portion of the isness, because firstly, once you are recognizing, you know that the fan is, then the person. So the isness, where it has come from? It comes from the understanding of the Atman. Because Atman is Satir, Chitir and Ananda. So Chitir means an awareness, being conscious, being aware. So that portion of that consciousness of the Atman, on the one hand, this is one item. This is going to join another item. What is the next one? The buddhi or the intellect, it is going in waves. Here, buddhi doesn't represent intellect. Actually, it may mean the mind also. See, they always use it in a little loose way. So, buddha vritti means, you may call it as intellect, you may call it as mind, it's only one. So, vritti means the thought process, the modification of the mind. The mind is not thinking of the mind, then it is thinking of my house, it is thinking of the book, it is thinking of tomorrow what am I going to do. So it is moving. This movement is called the wave portion, the wavy portion, we call it as vritti. The mind is modified from time to time by taking different thoughts. Because there is nothing called the mind, is only a conglomeration of thoughts. It's a kitchen of thoughts. So as such, these thoughts are going to waste, and it is almost like the samia or the spaghetti. If you take one, others will also come. So you start thinking of one thing, it leads to another, it leads to another, it leads to another, then it goes on. So these are known as vritti. The modification of the mind, which is thinking of the various things, that is called the vritti. So buddha vritti, the mind, it is always going in a way to catch something, just like the tentacles of an insect, which is going on searching for a victim. So in the same way it is going, and then these two join. This Atmas, that goes to the consciousness, it comes and gets reflected from the buddhi, and as such it gets that reflected sense of awareness. It is not the full awareness. If the full awareness was there, then you would have known the author, you would have never seen the fan at all. But it is only the reflected one, it gives you that much a limited knowledge only at that time. So it is only an amsha, it is only a part of the awareness. So, Atmana Satchidamshascha. Satya, Chitra, both of them. It is aware of its existence. So existence is there, awareness is there. So taking the Sat and the Chit, taking that portion of existence, that is there. Taking also that portion of the awareness of the existence, both belong to the Atman. So this goes and joins with Buddhehe Vritti, this Dvaya, there are two things. It is Dvaya, Dvaya means two. There are two separate things. One is the nature of existence, the nature of awareness, which belongs to the Atma. Then on the other hand, we have got a second item, which is your intellect. It is always going in a wavy way, so that a part of the wave, which is called the modification of the mind, so that is the second item. Now, Samyojya, both joining together. How? They cannot join at all. How can a conscious thing merge into another? And both together join, then what happens? Jnana miti pravartate. Then the individual starts saying, Jnanami, I know this is the fact. Jnanami means I know. I know this is a fan. I know this is a book. Jnanami iti pravartate. Then he proceeds. Pravartate means then he proceeds to say Jnanami iti. I know this is a fan. He comes to that. So, it is his job today.